I am seeing countless videos on YouTube about builder incentives and deep discounts for building a new construction home, and that you can save $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 on a new construction home. And realtors themselves are saving their clients thousands of dollars by building a new construction home. So today I just wanted to walk you through what it's actually like to build a new construction home and what these incentives actually are. More than half the transactions I've done in Houston in the last 5 years have been working directly with the builders, so I feel like I know a thing or two, and these are things that I would personally want to know if I were moving to a new city and considering building a new construction home. For those of you new here, my name is Danielle. I'm a realtor in Houston, and I make videos almost daily about the practical information you need when buying and selling in the Houston area. If you'd like assistance, feel free to message me. I'm always happy to help. The second half of this video, I'm going to talk about the lending incentives, where I think that's where a lot of the builders can trick you. So make sure you stick around so that you know what to expect. The first thing you need to know is that a majority of these advertised incentives are marketing. That's it. It's very plain and simple. They are just marketing. They are perception of savings, but they are not actually a savings. Things that builders do is they actually build in that incentive into the price. So they've already marked up the price of the home to include those $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 off, because if you run the comps for that area, especially compared to existing homes or other similar new construction homes, even with the incentives, you are probably paying market value. Because if you weren't, why is it that new construction has still steadily increased over the last 3 years, even though everyone is saying that builders are slashing prices and that you're getting these really good deals? It's not. They're just raising the price more and then adding some incentives on it so that you feel like you're getting a good deal. The thing is, and I'll keep saying this, is that you are building a home from a corporation, and the corporation has a bottom line, they have margins, and they have budgets. And you are not going to get a new construction home that goes beyond those parameters. And then in addition to that budget for negotiating, they have an additional incentive where you can negotiate with the builder so that you feel like you have a little bit more power in the transaction. Maybe they're going to add blinds for you, some appliance packages. All of that stuff has already been predetermined for negotiating. You know, they have what's in their back pocket, and then they have their back pocket for the people who are really persistent. But in the end, they are still following a very strict budget that they will not budge on. The builder is not going to do anything to lose money or to lower their bottom number or their appraised value number. The most important is that it appraises for what they want. You have to think about it. If they lower the price significantly for you, then the next 7 houses they build, they're going to have to explain to the appraiser why that house is so much lower than the next 7 houses they're trying to sell. So when you are negotiating with a builder, just remember that lowering that price is probably not very easy to negotiate, especially if it's already been reduced. They've already factored in the market value and they're not going to budge on that. You have to think about it. How are they going to steadily keep raising the prices and keep increasing the prices and the demand if they give you these massive deals? It just doesn't work that way. It's already built into the numbers. Another thing I've seen them do is that if the incentives are not working for that month, they will take the incentives away. The house will no longer qualify for incentives, but they will reduce the price of the house to what it would be with the incentives. So that's why a lot of the times on the MLS, if you see a home build that has been sitting for 3 to 4 months and the price has gone up and then it's gone down and then it's gone up and then it's gone down, it's because sometimes it includes the incentives, sometimes it doesn't include the incentives, but in the end, it is all the same. So what I'm saying is take the perceived deals and the incentives and look at them very, very carefully. What you really want to consider is if you are paying market value or not. Whether there's incentives or not, the most important thing is do not overpay for the house, because sometimes even with incentives, you're paying a lot more than you should be for the house. So when it's all said and done, yes, take advantage of their incentives, but make sure that you are still paying what is fair for the price of the house. you have to make sure you check the comps of the new construction and existing homes for the area, because more than likely, even with your incentives, you are paying more price per square foot than anything else in the neighborhood. If we think back to 2020, 2021, builders had absolutely no incentives. They were not offering anything whatsoever. You either wanted the house or you didn't. But as we all know, the market has changed. Homes are more expensive, the buyer pool is smaller, and builders have had to find ways to incentivize you to keep coming to build the new construction homes. It is true that the new construction inventory is absolutely higher than it was 3 years ago, and that there's a lot more competition between the builders and they are offering a lot of incentives. However, they're all doing the same thing to maintain the market value to continue steadily going up. Because if it's true, if since 2021 the builders have been slashing prices and offering these massive deals, then we would have seen a decline in prices, but that's not the case. We're still seeing an increase. So that means your incentives are not as good of a deal as they're being portrayed. So this video might sound really negative. I'm not saying don't buy new construction. I still think new construction is a great option, and there is some room for negotiation with new construction. But I'm just saying to go into the deal very, very carefully. Use a realtor to research the neighborhood, the comps, and make sure that you are making a good investment now and in the future, because there's so many more things that go into building a new construction home than just finding the builder with the best deals and making sure that you get a deal, because long term that deal is not going to matter as much as the appreciation of the area and the neighborhood and your lending. Now, of course, there are exceptions. There are those unicorn deals where you can get a really, really good deep discount and you can work out some sort of deal, but I'm saying that it's more common that production builder transactions are pretty black and white when it comes to the price you're going to end up paying. They're going to do everything possible to give you a deal while not hurting their bottom line or taking that market value any lower. Now, I do have a few pointers and things and steps you can take to maximize the incentives they're going to offer you, which I will go over after we go over how they get you with the lending incentives. All right, so the second way a builder is overpriced, and the way I honestly think that this is the way they've been able to continue steadily raising the prices and essentially tricking you, is the lending incentives. If you've noticed, a majority of the builder incentives is the 2-1 buy down, or $20,000 to use however you want, or $30,000 if you use their lender. And typically they'll use it towards closing costs, they'll use it to buy down your rate, whatever you want, they're going to give you some money to do whatever you want with it. I just want you guys to be really careful with this offer, because remember, the builder is not going to offer you anything that's going to hurt their bottom line or cause them to go negative. What better way to take advantage of buyers than to raise the home price $30,000 to $40,000 above market value, then offer you $30,000 to temporarily buy down the rate or go towards your closing costs, all while keeping their home price above market value and the same home price that you are going to have to finance and that you're going to pay property taxes on. So in the end, even though they've given you $30,000 that will temporarily help you, they are still increasing the price and you are still paying a premium for that new construction home. So again, this is all perceived value. In the end, you're really going to have to sit down and carefully look at the numbers and carefully evaluate what the lending incentives are going to do for you now and long term. And more importantly is, even with the incentives being used towards lending, are you still paying market value for the home, or are you paying over market value? Generally, I've seen that the lending incentives do make sense for the buyers, but just barely. They will give you a rate that is not as great as an outside lender, but with their cash incentives and closing incentives, it just makes a little bit more sense to go with the builder, and therefore the builder wins. And also, if you go with an outside lender, then none of these incentives exist. They usually don't even give you any type of incentive. It's only if you use their lender and title company. I have said this in many of my videos, and I will keep saying it, that homes in Houston, new construction or resale, if they are priced right, they go immediately. Multiple offers sometimes. There are no incentives, there are no buy downs for the buyer or any of that. It's when they are above market value, they are not priced correctly, is when you'll see these incentives to try and offset the fact that you are overpaying for a house. It's so simple. So please, when you are looking at these incentives, take it for what it is and make sure you're doing your own research and making really good decisions. As promised, here are a few of the tactics I use for new construction, or that you can use for new construction, to try to get the best deal possible, because there are occasionally, as I said, those unicorn deals that you can get. It's not all the time. There's so many other variables going on. Number one is build in a brand new master plan community. I'm talking ones that are just breaking ground this year or have only been building for less than 6 months, because those first few sections, they're going to give you a really low price and you're going to kind of set the tone for the rest of the neighborhood. So you're going to have a lot of built-in equity if you're one of the first houses within those communities before they have entire sections built or the amenities are built. That's where you can get a really good deal with new construction. Number two, if you are going to choose between an already built new construction home or building a new construction home, I always recommend that you choose inventory homes. Buying a already built home is always going to be cheaper than building. That's where the builder is a little bit more motivated to get rid of the house. They've already reduced it and slashed it down, probably to market value, to move it. And if you do want to try to get an additional deal on top of that, I highly recommend that you wait until the last week of the month, because that's when the sales agents are extra motivated to get those numbers in. If that's not possible, I would look for communities that are in closeout, where a majority of the builders are already finished building, that they have less than a couple months left in that community before they completely close out. Those ones are going to also be very motivated to sell that house and get out of there, because it's costing them money to stay there. And they're not going to be as concerned about the comps, because they will have no other houses to build, so they won't need the appraiser or comps as much. As always, there's even exceptions to those tips. If it's a brand new community that these are the last new construction homes that are going to be built in the best school district or the number one selling community, then there's still supply and demand that comes into play, so you probably won't get the best deal. So this is why you need a realtor who's really familiar with the area and the tactics to kind of help you and guide you to find those deals if that's what you're looking for. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe, as it helps the algorithm know that this is good information. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.